Today on Bell the Birdmen, Carson Wentz is in Washington. Also, John talks about the Giants again. Don't ask him about the Giants at parties. And a quarterback in the first round. It's all coming up from the Last Out Media Studios. But first, Taylor, hit the music!
Hello, everybody. Oh, my God. Am I blowing out Vince Quinn's ears? I hope so. He winced in pain. But I'm glad you're here with us on Bell in the Birdmen, episode 80-something? Is that where we're at? 81?
I never keep track of that because I never
Francisco
remember.
Rojas, where are we at?
I don't know. I don't remember.
God,
it's been a while. It's been a while.
What was that, T?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Call me when it's
Thank
100.
you.
All right, let me know.
The most important episode of all time, I think, because, ladies and gentlemen, I believe Vince Quinn is no longer depressed about Russell Wilson. Thank you to the Washington Commanders for trading for Carson Wentz from the Colts, where nobody was going to trade for him. He was going to get cut, and here comes Dan Snyder. That's what I love. So you're back. You're back.
I'm back. I for all the misery and sadness that was the last time that we spoke, as soon as I saw that, I was like, holy shit, you know what I mean? And going through the division and thinking about where everything is and just what a disaster. This is one of the worst trades you could possibly make by a team that I could not hate anymore, and it is perfect in every single way. I love everything about this Wentz trade.
Yeah, me too. From people thinking, especially our good friend Louis DiBiase over there from Locked On Eagles, just this take has been going through Eagles Twitter over the last 12 hours. Washington's now a much better football team. Have you heard this?
Really?
The talent is just as equal as the Eagles, and they got better at quarterback. No,
Bullshit.
they didn't.
Yeah.
You know what else I'm hating today is the Colts have a massive hole at quarterback now. No, they don't. They had a massive hole with Carson Wentz as their quarterback, and now they're free as birds. Yeah, granted, with a lot less assets, and they're really stupid for doing that. But the world is their oyster, and they actually have a chance to make the playoffs without Carson Wentz being there. Don't you think Taylor Heinicke is just as eligible to take Washington to the playoffs as Carson Wentz? Because I certainly do.
Yes.
What are we really holding on to anymore? This man is going to be a rival. Let's go mock him. This is great. This is fantastic. I couldn't be happier where Carson Wentz landed.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, yeah, Taylor Heinicke is the same guy. And you know what? He has actual confidence where Wentz doesn't have that anymore. This is such a layup. What is Francisco, can you look up Heinicke's contract? I want to see how much he's making.
Dirt cheap.
Because he can't be worth a damn thing. The guy was in what? The USFL or the AAF or something like that. He was in some other league. And then he comes out of nowhere, plays well in a playoff game, which, by the way, Wentz has never done in his life, hasn't even played in a playoff game.
Hey, there was
other
that
than
9 minutes
5
in Seattle.
snaps. Yeah. So, Taylor Heinicke, you've seen a guy that's played in the playoffs, is the same kind of wily guy, runs around, has a big enough arm. He does stuff that Wentz can do. Costs you nothing. He's already been there. You traded for that guy. When your division rival, you watched him melt down there. You saw the contract fall apart. The most casual of football fans should have seen everything around Wentz with how he left Philly, how he fell apart, how he goes to the Colts, how he fell apart, and know that this is every red flag imaginable. They throw multiple third-rounders at him. They have a conditional that can become a second. They trade and take all of the salary on. The Lions got rid of Jared Goff or took on Jared Goff and got rewarded in picks for taking on his contract.
Yeah.
They upped their pick load and took on the contract. By the way, they're going to suck ass. This team blows. So now, Wentz is going to implode. Those picks are going to climb, and they're going to give up quality draft picks and pay all the salary. There's nothing smart about this trade whatsoever.
Francisco, what is his contract?
Yeah, so I got
number?
Heinicke's contract here. It's 2 years, $0.75 million. He's on the second year this year.
So okay,
Wow.
So they decided to upgrade for Carson Wentz. Is Taylor Heinicke 14 times worse than Carson Wentz?
Not at all.
No,
Wentz
they're
is
the
better,
same
right?
guy.
Wentz is the better quarterback, correct?
I mean, in
Is
talent,
he?
yes.
Honestly, if Taylor Heineke played for the Colts, would you know the difference?
Yeah, Wentz still had like a good season last year.
He's what, like 20 and
Handing
9
off
or
the
something?
football, yeah.
Yeah, but his
throwing, like,
numbers
big
were
throws
still
when he
good.
needed
Like
to.
most of the season, generally, he was a good quarterback. He just crapped the bed when it mattered the most. I mean, can we agree on that?
Well, yeah,
Well,
that's
then
why
let's-
they got rid of him. But would Heineke crap the bed like that because he played the game of his life against Tom Brady in the fucking playoffs? So no. And what he put up again, if he had that offensive line, Pittman and Taylor and all that stuff, I bet they're the same guy. If I was the Colts, I'm surprised they didn't get Heineke back. Like, if you're going to trade Wentz, okay, fine, take Wentz. Clearly, you're not starting Heineke. We'd love to have him.
Gardner Minshew puts the Colts in the playoffs.
Does he?
Oh,
no.
I like this.
Stop that.
I like this.
I hate you. What are you talking about? Gardner?
If Carson Wentz had a good year last year, then I'm fucking Elmer Fudd. You know what I'm saying?
be.
Like
You might be.
I might be. I am the world's biggest genius. I am everything that situation is. Carson Wentz did not have a good year last year.
What has
Why
Gardner
is this-
Minshew showed you the last
He
couple
can
of years?
hand off a football just like Carson Wentz can.
Yeah, but he
to
still
one of
has
the
to
best
throw the
offensive
football
lines,
well.
one of the best
They would
running
have
backs
won
in the
like
league.
5 or 6 games, John.
There's no way that's true.
Yes, they would have won like 5 or 6 games.
I
If
can't
Minshew's not even a
imagine.
bad quarterback, but
That's
Wentz-
what I mean. Forget.
He's not substantially better. Like, Wentz isn't substantially better than Minshew. He's better. I think Wentz is a better talent, but
Are we
it's
really there?
Yes,
In
because
regular
he's
season, yeah.
dude. He's already proven it. Nick Foles probably gets that team to the playoffs.
He can't even stay healthy.
Kirk
a full
Cousins
season,
gets that
though.
team
Hold
to the
on, though.
playoffs.
Hold on. Is this Foles time then?
For them, I would. That's the cheapest, easiest version of what you can do. And then
He's gonna get cut.
The Colts just go draft a quarterback in the second round.
Yeah, or he's a free agent if he's not a free agent.
I think
Foles
I'm pretty sure he's a free agent.
He was begging to go to the Colts last year.
Yeah. And wouldn't that be hilarious how
Was
this thing
he?
ends? Yeah. He said in a press conference preseason.
Yeah.
And sitting there basically yelling at Frank Reich to go get him. His relationship's been so good. I know me and Carson have some history, but me and Frank could go get it done, essentially. I think he was trying to pine for the job, and now he has an opportunity to go do it on probably like a $20 million 1-year deal or something.
Not
right?
even. You could
18?
pay. He's worth nothing right now. He's a backup. He died in Jacksonville. He died in Chicago. He's not worth anything. You could pay him $4 million and just go, Nick, you could start. He'll take that.
Yeah, and this is, I can't wait for him to do the same thing here because it's. I think Washington and Dan Snyder have that 2019 season stuck in their head of Miles Sanders catching that football in the end zone when it's, and the same thing as every other GM and coach that have vowed for this guy to say that 2017 season's still in there, but that's what's hilarious throughout this whole Carson Wentz drama, at least for me. Now you have Jeff McClain, and by the way, just want to shout out Joe Santoliquito one more time. If you have not listened to our interview from last week, please go do so because all of this is completely relevant to what he originally reported and getting yanked out of Philadelphia media for reporting this truth, which is right here. Jeff McClain, I got to admit something. I think I got my story wrong, by the way, when it came to I thought Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz had a big fight before the divisional round. I said it on the pod. That was something that was told to me.
That's not true.
I'm just saying, from Jeff McClain's reporting, he puts the timeline of Carson Wentz blowing up with a player.
Right.
The week of, I don't think he was very specific on it, but the week of the divisional game with the Falcons, it goes on to say that he had said to all the other injured reserve players that were there, so that includes Peters, Sproles. It was rumored to be Sproles in this scenario as I'm telling this, but said basically I wish we weren't as good. Right? That was kind of like the impression you got from the article.
He gives off those vibes too. Wentz, we can all believe this, right?
Shit, they're going to win the Super Bowl without me. I wish they
we
wouldn't.
all see that in him. Just everything that's me and Vince were talking about this on Greg's podcast yesterday. Looking back on it, it all makes sense. We can all see that in his personality and the way things have unraveled. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
It's totally believable. And I was one of those guys that I was, all behind Carson's back. Or
we all were.
Yeah,
we all were.
No, not all of us. That's not true. There were a lot of people that were on the Foles side.
After the Super Bowl, that's different.
Right,
but I'm just saying,
I'm talking about even the last 2019, 2020.
Exactly. But in in all of this, like, Carson's been the same person since he's walked into that building and has never changed. And if you have the balls and I put this out on Twitter, if Jason Peters is in that room, he's going to want to suplex Carson Wentz if he's saying anything along the lines of, I wish we wouldn't win the Super Bowl this year because I'm not a part of it.
Yeah.
Holy shit, how do you say that as an NFL player? Period. I'm sure there's been others that have done it, but they've not succeeded. I finally figured it out. Carson Wentz is Jeff fucking George. 10-cent nickel head,
Jeff George play.
all the arm. Vince is cracking up because something just entered his mind.
I just had a realization, John, because think about this. At that time, right? So Carson Wentz gets injured, is in the back room, says, hey, I think it sucks the team's winning without me, basically.
Yeah.
How funny is it that you were the guy the following year to ask him if he felt like he actually won a Super Bowl? You were that guy. I did. You asked him that question. You fucking directly asked him that question.
I forgot about that.
That's insane. Like, you took the biggest dagger that was possible and jammed it right into his fucking heart.
Was this
in
before
front
the
of
season?
Everybody. He did this before the 2018 season because it was a big debate.
Fresh wound.
It was
Let's
a
go.
big debate at the time, and we had talked about, everybody was talking about, and John was like, I'm just going to ask him. So you actually asked him that, which is like the biggest, I can't even imagine how he handled all that.
How did this motherfucker? You know what? I remember that vividly now.
God.
Because that's when they take you to the media house, like before the season starts. It's when OTA starts to get fired up, and you're talking to Zach Ertz, you're talking to Jason Kelsey, and I got real bored. And I was just like, "Fuck this! I'm just going to ask him. Because that was the theme of the pod, of like leading up to the week or two. Just because Carson Wentz consider him having a ring, or are we going to fight about this? And oh my God, I must have made him infuriated. I want to go look at the transcript.
We
now.
got to go back and check that out because that's incredible, dude. That is so incredible. Oh my God,
Carson Wentz is a fucking loser. That's what he is, and unfortunately, none of us wanted to pan out that way. But he is. He's a total loser. He's a total small-town kid that wanted to buy into, I'm going to be the big show. I'm going to have this leap like all the other D2 or D1AA or how FBS, however it's being phrased now. But, I mean, like, he just thought he was good enough to do his thing for 5 years.
He thought he was, and for a while he was.
He wasn't the one doing it.
But once everything changed, he never adapted. You know what I mean? Like, Alex Smith was the number 1 pick in the draft. Okay, eventually he just wasn't that good, and he was okay with that, and he played in multiple places and it worked out. He was good in Kansas City. He was good at the back end of his career with San Francisco. He was good with Washington as far as things can be good in Washington, right? So, like, he did all of that, but he adjusted from what he was and what he actually would be in the NFL. And so Wentz never made that adjustment. And to believe that he's going to do that now, this is a guy that has been so in his head, so believes he's the guy. He leaves Philly, blames everybody else. Now he gets the biggest believer he's ever got. That guy publicly apologizes for his existence.
Turned on him.
Yes. Sold him down the river. And then immediately, now he's in Washington. He's dead. He's a dead man walking. And is it going to be, I need to adjust my style of play? Because, like, we were kind of joking about this before the show. There is no way in hell that Carson Wentz beats the Eagles, okay? Like, he's going to go against Jonathan Gannon's defense. What do? Short, easy passes. Sure. No, I would, yes. Show me a Carson Wentz stat line where he's 27 of 30 and he's averaging like 5 yards a pass.
I'll take what is something Zach Wilson can do against Jonathan Gannon that Carson Wentz can't for 500. Please.
Yes, as you should. Like, that is double jeopardy. And for Wentz, it's double jeopardy. Like, he's done here. This is
done.
This is last gasp, and it is the worst situation possible.
What quarterback ever makes it out alive that has had 3 teams in 3 years as a starter? No one. No one. This is a desperate ploy. Man, oh man. Does Howie Roseman look really fucking smart today?
I said this like 2 months ago.
I've been saying this for a year and a half.
I'm just saying there are people arguing that. Like, Howie looks smart as shit now getting off of the Wentz contract.
But he does. But this is something that probably me and Vince and I would assume Taylor argues about this too. Yeah. Like, I love that you're happy. Trust me, I love that you're happy. And I don't want to ruin this vibe. But, like, you just got done saying who gives a shit who's at quarterback if it's not Russell Wilson. So, like, Carson's there. That's fun. But, like, when we say Howie Roseman smart and all this other stuff, like, what Do you honestly feel that going into this year, even though it's probably just going to be Jalen and maybe a draft or a vet, or they're going to have to do something because Minshew's more likely
yeah,
going to trade.
Everything operates in extremes, right? Which is why Howie Roseman is smart, and these other teams are fucking stupid in the division. Like that is the biggest benefit that they've got, and people don't want to appreciate that. But look around you. Amari Cooper's going to get cut.
DeMarcus Lawrence, more than likely too.
That doesn't happen here. The Eagles, think about this. I can't stress this enough for you, okay? The Eagles won the Super Bowl and kept everybody. That doesn't really happen. The Baltimore Ravens, for example, they win the Super Bowl. Joe Flacco gets this massive contract right after because they go on this run. Everybody leaves. All these guys are signing contracts all over the place. They all sucked in all those other places too, for the most part too. Like Google Paul Kruger. You're welcome. But
from the fake.
He went to. I'm pretty sure that was his name. He went from the.
Oh, Paul Kruger. Yes,
because he went to the Browns and then he was garbage after that. But that's what happens.
Who's
those teams blow
who's
up?
The fictional character in The Longest Yard? Isn't it something very
similar?
Paul Crew,
I think is what his name. Yeah.
My bad. That's where I was thinking.
So there you go. And if he puts Adam Sandler in a quarterback, I guess that's a whole other
Probably
podcast for
Carson
another
Wentz.
day.
Yeah.
But thinking about the values of all this stuff, right? Like how he manages the contract so well that he literally won the Super Bowl, brought everybody back, and we went, we're only going to get better. Let's keep going. Like Wentz was on the rookie deal, all that kind of stuff. He signs Wentz ahead for value. Because think about this. Let's say Wentz worked out, right? If he did work out here, did pan out, Aaron Rodgers is going to make $50 million a year. Kyler Murray is going to make $50 million a year. Russell Wilson is going to make $50 million a year. Wentz is going to make $35. If he was an elite guy that made it, he would have been $15 million a year cheaper.
Yes.
Cheaper. He would have done that right here and right now. Meanwhile, in this reality where everything went bad and all that, what happens? Well, you look at Washington. They gave up all those picks and took on $28 million of a guy that everybody in the world knows is broken. They are dumb when their own guy is on the roster for a 14th of the price. Like, they are dumb. They don't understand the cap, how the league works. Dallas, same thing. Dallas can identify talent, which Washington can't do all that well, but they still don't understand the talent of how that gets paid. Zeke is $18 million. That's why Amari Cooper's gone. Is that a good investment? Absolutely not. Howie doesn't make that investment. Like, this is the stuff you need to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, sure, fine. But, like, would you rather be the Eagles or the Cowboys where you're cutting guys? Can you imagine how pissed we would be if we had to just outright cut Fletcher Cox 2 years ago just because?
Yeah.
Like, that's a travesty. If you had to cut Lane Johnson right now just because, they don't do that. They will never do that.
Say it's okay if Jason Kelsey retires or, whatever it might be. Yeah. It rarely happens around here.
They keep everybody that they want. They know how to move money around, add guys, make big swings. Now they've got all this space. So, yes, Jalen Hurts is not the guy that I wanted. But when they had the ammunition for Russell, they saw the value was there. They put something together. They went for it. They didn't get it. He declined us, and I hate him now. So it's fine. But the extreme of that is you stay with the young guy on the rookie deal. You build around that. You see if he's the guy. If he's not the guy, you don't pay him because they're not remotely worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you need to know. He needs to sell tickets. You need primetime games, that kind of guy every single year. If he's not that guy, get rid of him. So they're playing the game the right way. You have two very distinct paths. He knows that. He's played to that, and they will continue now on the Hurts path because you have to, unless they go Watson. And again, that's like the same thing. It's an extreme shift for an elite top-level guy. I know it's icky. I don't like it either.
Yeah. And I just don't get things can change. Talked a little bit about that on the last pod. I really don't think they go down that path, especially now. But, this is what I love. You can change the name. You can replace every personnel person possible down there in Washington. Same dumb haircut, same damn Dan Snyder trying to make a splash. Like, everybody's kind of pointed this out. It feels like McNabb. Just like we just have this guy that we think we can resurge and that just...
Well, crotchety, stubborn quarterback, by the way, that was past his prime. And that was the problem with McNabb. He was lazy. Like, all the accusations were that basically, like, Andy Reid, he had a full grasp of everything, but this was when that armband was coming into vogue, where it's like, hey, I've got this thing on my wrist that shows me all the plays. He didn't want to wear that. I remember that story. So, like, there was just stuff around it where he wouldn't adapt. Right. He wouldn't adapt. He was a stubborn old fool at that point. And, like, Wentz is that guy already in the same town in the same way. Like, franchise guy, crazy athlete, falls apart. Now he's in Washington. He's on death's doorstep.
Yeah.
Wentz could be out of the league by a year from now.
And 215-509-5833, if you want to text in, or please in our Discord as well, is where we tend to have a lot of these fun, crazy ideas, and where honestly, like Francisco Rojas does get ripped apart lethally. So that's always very enjoyable.
Deservedly so.
Yes.
Now me and Taylor are friends. Now he can just say whatever he wants to.
Yeah,
You see that?
exactly.
Yeah, that's how it goes
that's just
usually.
how you got to produce all that stuff. Dominic, who has been on the text line, 215-509-5833, who comes up with the best nicknames, I think, for every Eagles player on earth, did want to know, and I think this is a very important question because Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz are going to face off at least twice a year next year. And I hope it continues past that. I hope this is like a 3 or 4 year rivalry with Carson Wentz just doing good enough to hang on to his job, right? It looks as anything, he says, like this is going to be one of the massacre Vic type games of, let's go put up 60 at one point. When that happens, after Jalen blows out Carson in week 1 on primetime, because that's probably how the NFL will schedule this, a good call on that.
Yeah.
Does Carson Wentz shake hands with Jalen Hurts, yes or no? And I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go with Carson on the first game back to Philadelphia, win or loss, walks immediately off the field and says nothing to anybody.
Oh, 100%. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be hilarious.
Pulls a Brady.
Pulls a Brady.
Yeah.
Brady and Foles.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
Exactly. You are inferior. To me, Jalen should be celebrating this up and down. You want a little bit more motivation for the season? He's right there with your division rival. I think Washington is absolutely fucked this year when they play the Eagles. It's going to be 2 of Jalen's best games, or whoever's there.
Who's in Jalen's ear then?
Fucking Lane Johnson right now, if I had to guess. Everybody. Can I just say, no one really likes Carson Wentz. We can openly say that now. It's in the air.
Yeah,
No one likes Carson
universal.
Wentz.
Santa Luquino
Universal.
told us that.
Yeah.
He was like, basically, he's like, I'm not going to say which group, but it was probably the offensive line. He's like, big guys. So either the whole offensive line, which is probably it, they work with him all the
That's
time.
exactly who he was talking about, more than likely. Like 95% sure that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe a
So,
Fletcher Cox, maybe.
Yeah. If Fletch is that
Definitely.
upset about Jonathan Gannon, you're damn right. If anyone got wind of it, and that's why, so just to go back to there for a second, if they found out that Carson didn't want him, I hope we don't win the Super Bowl, plus I'm going to call my own plays, plus on and on and on. Yeah, that's what they mean by leadership. You're not a team guy at all. You're just out there throwing footballs. Like you're at target practice or something like that. So, this whole entire group wants to beat the shit out of that team.
it's personal.
Yes. I
It's
can't wait
personal.
for that. I also can't wait for the liquid death cans that are supposedly coming in. But again, we're going on like 3 or 4 weeks here, Mike. I don't know what's going on. But the liquid death sparkling waters that we enjoy and love in the wonderful Iowa colors. Thank you very much for that. The black and gold, even though they're
Is
not black
Liquid
and
Death
gold.
Pro Linderbaum? 215-509.
And you can get all of these bad boys sent to you with free shipping, all 16.9 ounces of this beautifully crafted water from the Alps that is stuffed in there and creates magical powers through our bodies. Yes, water is good for the body, as Vince Quinn has found out
That was a big
very
realization for me, which, by the way, there goes a can. There goes another can.
Crushed. And we love, as much as we joke, we do love Greg and Mike and everybody else that has been supporting the podcast. We are expanding that this year and excited to tell you some stuff that we're doing along the way. But for now, keep helping us by helping them, because we love who they are, what they represent, by going to liquiddeath.com/bell for every single order of your sparkling mountain water from the Alps in Liquid Death. So we appreciate that. Also, I appreciate the ripple effect of not only Carson kind of disrupting the NFC East, but I don't think we're saying this out loud enough. I mean, you said it. Amari Cooper's getting cut. Lawrence is more than likely not going to be there either. They are looking for linebacker help, even though they've drafted 3 of them in the first round in 3 consecutive years. I'm tired of fucking hearing about linebackers. Sorry, had to get that out there. They are 3 or 4 in this division, no doubt about it. Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn are fighting for power. This is a disaster for the Cowboys. Giants, Eagles, 1 or 2, Washington, Dallas, 3 or 4. That's how this goes. There's never been a repeat winner. We all know that stat since the beginning of time. No one's been a repeat champion since Andy Reid, which is fucking crazy. But Dallas should be done.
You didn't listen to me last year, John. I'm sorry, Vince.
How did they do?
They won the division
And
still.
then what happened?
But then still won the division.
All right.
That's all I said. I didn't say they were going to the Super Bowl. I said they're going to the division. And it happened.
I hate to say it, but he's accurate. Yeah.
The Giants are going to be top 2?
No, I'm saying you were accurate last year.
Oh,
yeah. No, the Giants are. I'm not worried about the Giants this year. But when it comes to the division, I think here's where I think you're onto something. They are hiring smart people from a good organization. So, are they probably going to be good in a year or two? Yeah, which is on some level it is exciting. I do miss that. Like the early 2000s, that rivalry. I think of Antonio Pierce. I hated that guy. But you know what? It made it fun. You loved those games. You loved beating the Giants. It was exciting. It hasn't been exciting beating the Giants in 10 years? Yep. I mean, really, it's just they're not an exciting team. They're not interesting. They haven't been all that good. They get fluky when they win. That was over 10 years ago now.
So it seems like Miracle of Meadowlands 3 was the last one. That's kind of after that. What's the rivalry been?
And even then,
Not
it was
too much.
because they were just so bad. The Eagles were so bad in that game that it was crazy that they won. So the rivalry hasn't been there. With Dallas, it's kind of there because they're always talented. And you had Wentz and Dak for a little bit, but it's cooled off a little bit. It's not as strong as it used to be.
It's back on. Actually, speaking of that.
Well, it's Dak and Wentz is back, baby. So fire up those old tweets. Let's go pull those back up. But yeah, it's now the division has storylines. Now the division is fun. Now you have actual movement. You've got the Wentz thing and Rivera, and we'll see where that goes. It's going to stink.
6-10.
Dallas is starting to fall
11,
apart.
sorry.
I think they're going to implode. I mean, McCarthy was very tenuous already. Now they're going to cut talent. You tell me that's going to get better?
No.
Good luck with that. And then for the Eagles, it's all the growing and changing for us. Obviously, we're obsessed with all that anyway. And then the Giants could be good in a year or two, and it's what kind of signs do they make? How do they rebuild? So there's a lot going on with the division.
There's too many smart people in New York for it to be bad. That's my contention. I know we're not all hepped up on Daniel Jones like I am, apparently.
No.
But I think they're an instant playoff contender immediately. Because if we, a perfect example, okay, is Carson Wentz and coaching and all this other stuff. If we looked at Carson Wentz in 2017 and didn't know anything about John DeFilippo, Frank Reich, Doug Peterson's all influence on that 1 year of crafting the shit out of that year, because we know that's true. That's not Carson. That's him actually listening to his coaches, actually getting pushed, and that's what you develop out of that. Joe Judge isn't that. He's just a pusher with no philosophical value at all. We have to start believing that good coaches do raise the level, no matter how bad the floor might be for any one particular. That's what I'm not going to say he's going to light the world on fire. I'm not diving into the New York Giants pool of this guy is just the next Joe Montana and he just needs a good coach. That's not what's going to happen. But in the same way that unfortunately I'm going to keep using this man's name, Ryan Tannehill created a playoff team. We can debate on how good he is, and obviously we all think he's probably still, second tier bullshit quarterback. But I mean, he's gotten them closer than anybody else in a long time in Tennessee, and I think that's the same path for the Giants right now. Ken Dorsey, all that stuff. I really want to bring Brian McKeon back on from the New York Groove. Shout out Last Out Media Studios and doing some stuff there. But I don't know, man. T, I don't know if you've been convinced over the last couple of weeks of all these different smart people going to New York, all these dumb people and dumb transactions happening with Washington, happening with Dallas. They're going to be there whether we like it or not, even if Daniel Jones is just average.
You have a weird trauma reaction to any quarterback in this division that has any flash against the Eagles. That good moment's just going to last forever against the Eagles. I don't know what it is. I don't know who did it to you.
It's that 80-yard run when he fell down, right? That's
when he fell down.
That I'm still thinking of.
So look, could they run some RPOs and he's passable? Yeah,
that's what I mean.
I could see that, but are they really a playoff team? Are they great? That roster's got a lot of problems still. I don't buy them yet. Again, in a year or two, I think absolutely the Giants are going to be they're on track to be a very good team. So we'll have something to respect in the division.
Has Ben McAdoo ever been rehired anywhere?
No. I think he's in. Yeah.
If Joe Judge wasn't a friend of Bill Belichick, would he be hired anywhere right now?
No.
Probably not. I rest my case, Your Honor. I mean, like, it's just like sometimes coaching is that bad where it's going to affect a team, and the Giants are a perfect candidate for that. They have a really good defense. No one talks about it because their offense can't do anything.
Well, yeah, and I'm tired of talking about it. Enough Giants. Enough Giants with you. It's all the time the Giants come up. It's just.
But I love this. I think it puts two teams at the bottom of the barrel before the draft happens. Because there's not, unless the Cowboys really nail the draft coming out of this and fix their cap hell issues, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't replace experience with a Cooper. You can't with Lawrence, with whatever. If you're going to double down on Randy Gregory and all that other stuff, I feel really good about the Eagles' chances because Vince Quinn, last thing before we get out of here, I know there's been some doubters. And I know that it's just been like, we'll see. I'm not sure about this quarterback class. But my boy Desmond Ridder is racing up the motherfucking charts with really smart people, okay? I know that there's...
So people from the Giants.
People from the Giants. I've seen, I think it's Greg Rosenthal say some things. I think it's been all the Eagles people that watch tape, a lot of draft nerds. They're all saying the same thing. The guy that I want in this draft at quarterback is Desmond Ridder. 15, 16, or 19, the Eagles pull the trigger on one of those. How far are you back in with being excited with all the other stuff that we talked about? Because I'd be ecstatic.
I mean, Ritter's fun. The idea of a first-round pick on a quarterback right now, doesn't. No.
I think it's very possible now.
If he's there in the second, yeah. But I just think it's a hard sell. Like, in terms of the disruption and everything, the harmony of it. Because right now, if you're going to keep Jalen Hurts, I want the harmony of the full...
He's still here.
Yeah, but... Yeah, you're making him compete now with Ridder. It's the status of a guy that was a second-round pick versus a guy that's a first-round pick. The expectation is, outside of Jordan Love, which is the biggest freak thing ever, like, that guy's going to play soon.
I don't think so.
You usually, if you're drafting a quarterback in the first round these days, the idea is that guy's going to play
right
by week 6.
And I don't disagree, but yeah.
So, I mean, is that the plan, though?
Wouldn't you think it's better? I think this is something I've stressed throughout the entire offseason. I think Jalen can handle this. In the scope of what we've been talking about with Carson, with all these other people that have ego problems, I can't remember who. I think it was Paul Domowitch that pointed this out. Donovan McNabb, when he got benched, and you have Kevin Cobb coming in, and there's that whole scenario, lit it back up the very next game. He had an opportunity to do so. I think Jalen Hurts is the same type of competitor. If he ends up losing, okay. Now you've got that great backup for $1 million. You've got an amazing, hopefully a better starter than Jalen Hurts at 8. So all encompassing, your quarterback room is really good. Plus, you're probably either trading Gardner Minshew, keeping him here. Veteran is going to come in. That's a really good, cheap quarterback room that you can keep developing while everybody else is looking for veteran answers and looking for the next QB swap and everything. I actually think that's where they're heading. And all of this distraction between Linderbaum debates, linebacker debates in the first round, edges. What's the one thing no one's really thinking about with the Philadelphia Eagles in the first round?
Yeah.
QB, and I think Howie wants it that way. I really do think at the end of the day, they're going to select a quarterback because you can't say to me that they've been knocking on the door for Russell Wilson, that they're actually still considering Deshaun Watson, that there's probably some others that we're not really thinking about. They're taking a quarterback, guys. And I would bet on the first round as opposed to the second because they have 3 of them. We've all said this.
Yeah, see,
we have all said this. And go sign defensive free agents and build that way. That's what I would do.
See, to me, it's like, okay, if you're going this route of having the young quarterback that you're trying to give a shot to and he's cheap, second-round contract, all that stuff, go all in with him now. If he's going to be your guy this year, go all in with him. Don't hedge that bet.
What a huge mistake
Go
that
and
would
play
be.
it. If you're going to go and get a quarterback, at least, I'm not doing it in the first because you're signaling to everybody that you don't think that Hurts is going to make it. You're telling everybody that.
Well, no one does. You don't. Francisco doesn't.
I don't.
Taylor doesn't. I'm the only one that does. I think he can make it, but I'm not opposed to him having competition either.
I'm not opposed to competition, but competition versus first-round competition is a different thing. It sets a different expectation, the way that people look at the team, the way the people on the team, because ultimately players are people, right? Like they have some reflection of what the public thinks, which is, okay, if there's a split between talented guys, is there going to be a Ridder faction? This guy affects my job. If I'm Devontae Smith, I think Ritter's getting me the ball more. I want Ridder.
What's
know what I
wrong
mean?
with that?
Well,
and they were teammates.
It's
So,
the
like, that would
investment in
mean
the
something.
position and the quality of the prospects. If you're thinking that one of these guys is a slam dunk guy and you got to get him, then draft that guy and tell Hurts he's the backup right away. If it's I'm going to draft a guy in the first round and he's going to compete with Hurts, I don't like that. I would rather just go with Hurts, draft somebody I like, or honestly, and the other scenario is trade down. The trade down thing gives you everything. If you trade into the second round, you find a prospect, Matt Corral, Carson Strong, one of those kinds of guys, you could draft that guy in the second. It's competition, but it's not handing the guy the job. Or there's
How
not
is
an
that
expectation.
You're telling me that Jalen Hurts' mentality will differ from 28 selections?
Not Hurts' mentality necessarily. It adjusted a tiny bit, one, because being a first rounder and a second rounder, especially 15 or wherever in the second, I think that does matter.
Yeah.
And it's the rest of the team and the message you're sending to them and the rest of the league and the value you think that Hurts has and Minshew has and whatever.
Yeah.
I just think that matters, that value of that first round pick. So if you trade back and you get one of these guys in the second round that is a project still, and maybe Ritter does fall to the second. We don't know. Like, Washington was going to draft
possible.
a quarterback. They were a lock. Now they've got Wentz. Are they going to draft a guy in the first round? Maybe they're dumb, but they shouldn't. So we'll see how the draft
I just
falls.
want to make sure I'm
But
hearing you correctly too.
Yes.
So you would not be okay if they stayed there and selected a guy like Desmond Ritter. You would be okay if they went back into the first round a little, like if they end up at 31 or 32 or somewhere around there, or the beginning of the second round, then it's not as much as a big deal. Is that why I hear clearly?
I think it sends a bit of a different message. The contract is different. And here's the other thing, too. It's about how he loves to hedge the bets. That's always what he does. Jalen Hurts was hedging a bet. Clearly that worked off.
That's not hedging. That's knowing your boy's going to walk out. My opinion.
That was a year before he died and gave up. I mean,
But they already knew. But by all the stories that we have now, you might be right, but yeah.
But it was a hedge.
Right.
So they do in the second round. It's not as strong a shot. It's a hedge. So, okay, fine. If you get a second round guy this year and you do it by virtue of trading back, you get everything. You still have Jalen Hurts. He's not directly supplanted. It doesn't cause as much of a controversy because he had 3 first round picks and you didn't use any of them on a quarterback.
Here's why Vince is wrong.
Hold on. Last part of this
Okay, I'm sorry.
is when you trade back by virtue of doing that, you're getting a first rounder next year. So you're getting an additional first rounder next year. So if you want to trade up and get a guy next year, you could go and do that. If you want to take a project guy this year, compete with Hurts, great. If you give up on Hurts, you can move him, keep him as a backup, whatever you want to do. You have a strong quarterback room, and you can get anybody you want.
Yeah. Here's where I think you're wrong. What's the one thing that Jalen Hurts has said to Nick Sirianni about what he wants in terms of being coached?
Hard
He
coaching.
wants to be fucking pushed, and pushed because he's the coach's son. If Desmond Ritter shows up on day one and says, I'm going to take your fucking job, you know what Jalen Hurts is going to do? Play the best quarterback of his life. That's the type of kid he is. So I think it only helps Jalen Hurts to see that there's somebody behind his back, unlike the condition that we have been in with Carson Wentz for years and years and years, or Donovan McNabb complaining about all these other different quarterbacks, or Aaron Rodgers or whoever. Even Jimmy Garoppolo, who I know it's but he still took you to an NFC championship game. In his final run, that one pick pushed his level of play to there. I think having Desmond Ritter here would only help Jalen Hurts because he doesn't want to lose his job. He's young enough still. He's fresh enough out of college where that's basically what he does every single year is fight for his job with Nick Saban in one of the most highly competitive internal SEC programs on earth. So I think everyone has this wrong. Push for a quarterback in the first round. I'll even say I'll take small hands Kenny Pickett, but you have to take. I've really changed my mind over the last week and a half as Francisco's doing this and it's making me
wiggling his
hands. But I would really consider drafting a quarterback high, and that's okay, even if it's at 15. Jalen Hurts can handle it.
I think he can.
He has to.
Again, he handles it, but you don't need the complication right now.
What's the complication?
It's everybody
you just
else.
spent a fucking year telling us we needed Russell Wilson.
Yes.
John, I'm just concerned. Do you know how many holes this team has?
Like what?
Like a second receiver, like
Free agency?
linebackers, like
unnecessary.
corners. They're still
Very
necessary.
necessary.
It's still a
They
thing.
have no secondary right now.
We're
They have
still
one
the,
guy in the
safeties
secondary.
are questionable. Edge rushers, go
Defense
address that. Oh
doesn't
my God! Stop it! Stop it!
matter.
The Rams needed the defense to win the Super Bowl. We
they
saw
needed
that.
it. They needed it.
So the Eagles don't. The Eagles don't.
Well, they're not
The
playing.
Eagles' offense is that good that they don't need a defense.
No. I'm saying they need to enhance their offense.
Right, they need to
and then
hit
you
both
don't
sides
have
of the
to
ball,
worry
but-
about the holes on your defense because you're scoring too many
But
points.
I want to use the first rounder on something else, man.
Of course you do, because
Well,
you
But
guys
you're
are
saying-
trying
but
to
you said,
avoid
of course you do, but you want a quarterback.
It's not just
Yes.
avoiding controversy;
It's not
it's,
about
the
avoiding
quality of the players. Like when a guy rockets up from being a second-round pick to a first-round pick because of the combine, he's not a first-round pick.
Well, I
Like,
think that's just because of the information. But yeah, fair point.
That's
fair
what all
point.
these guys do. Like, oh, Malik Willis. I see Malik Willis mocked as potentially like second overall. Really?
Yeah, he
I mean,
shot up that high, which is wild.
But that's-
Well, think about the QB
happens.
carousel that's still yet to happen too. Kirk Cousins has got to get a new team. That's going to happen at some point. Who else? Jimmy
Garoppolo's
got
going to
to
be on the
settle
move.
down
Jordan
somewhere.
Love is going to be on the move as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got all these different guys. Which again, if Ritter's in the second round, I'll take him. But for the quality of player and all the evaluations that you read, see, whatever,
Yeah.
nothing's told me he's a first round guy from the jump.
No one is. That's
So
what
then,
but
but
you've
why
got,
am I burning one now
Be-
on a
because
first rounder?
The inefficiency of the NFL is development, and it doesn't want to do that right now. The Rams want to buy assets because they don't want to think about it anymore. Everybody's trying to buy this. Like the Browns tried to do that from the ground up, and they had like 3 different people in charge of the snake,
Well,
and it
yeah.
ended up how it is.
They're kind
and
of
they
the
just
process.
go like, okay, Baker Mayfield, we found our guy, and we're going to stop. Like you can't do that if you're unsure that you don't have a top 10 to 5 quarterback, right? So I think that's where the Eagles see it now, or at least a little bit. I think they're almost insane not drafting a first or second round quarterback this year. Insane. They would be so detrimental to the franchise. For any particular reason, if Desmond Ridder ends up being a way better backup and Jalen Hurts ends up being a way bigger starter, fantastic, great.
I think John just likes quarterback controversies.
No, man,
I
it's
think
just
he
like
does. I
so
get it.
Is Jalen Hurts good enough to go win a Super Bowl in your opinion or not?
Probably not right now.
So what the fuck are we talking about?
But you can
Well, is
be
Desmond
patient,
Ridder?
John, be a little
I
patient.
don't know. Probably. I am. Me patient with Jalen Hurts.
You don't look patient right now.
I'm
okay, get out of here with that. He's not patient with Jalen Hurts.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, come on.
I want him to
wanna
be here
see it right now.
forever. I want him to be here forever. But like we don't know what his full limitations are when you hit that ceiling. I just know he's going to get there probably faster than anybody. And
You really think so?
I
hope
do.
you're right.
Yeah,
I
I
hope
do.
you're right. I don't believe it yet.
I know.
I don't believe
it's okay. I don't mind. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be 100% right, which is, and nor is any GM. I think if you just say it's exactly the antithesis with what we've just gone through with Carson and where it is now. You've got years and years of coaches vowing for quarterbacks because they love them, and they're blinded to their intangibles. I can work with them. I can fix them. That's why Sam Bradford ended up in Philadelphia, and that's also why he ended up in the fucking Minnesota Vikings, is because
And had the best completion percentage of all time in
Yes,
this season.
because Pat, whatever the fuck his name is, that was with Chip and then got a Pat Shurmur,
Yeah.
recommended him twice and convinced GMs and owners to take him. I'm so done with that. I might love a guy, but we can all be wrong. You have to protect. It's not hedging. It's protecting the franchise. That's all. That's all. Like if I was there day to day, I would probably be on your side and say Jalen's so great. I don't want to disrupt that. But
if there was better talent, if this was last year's quarterback class, yeah, I'd probably be more open to it. But for everything that I've heard, and let's be real, I've been on the Russell Wilson trade.
Yeah.
I did believe that was going to happen. I haven't taken too much time to be serious about quarterbacks. So here's what I want to do for you: is I will watch all the guys. I'll rewatch them because I saw a little bit of each guy just to know that they existed and have
Yeah.
a visual in my head. But I'll go back and look through the guys again. And I'll tell you next time we talk, if I have anybody I would actually take in the
Okay.
first.
All
So
right.
I'll give them a look. But everything now is giving me the impression none of those guys are worth it, and I wouldn't take the leap this year.
well, I'm curious what you think either. 215-509-5833. Can always hit us up on the text line. Join our Discord. Rip Francisco. Say hi to the other 3 of us that are,
Why am I always like
you're not sociable in there. In fact, I'm demanding
All
you
right,
type
fine. You
more
know
in
what?
the
I'll
Discord.
talk in there once
Thank
a day.
you.
I
Thank
promise.
you.
Once a day.
Once a day. That's better than once a week, which is what it's been. Actually, it's been like once every month. So
Dubs,
Yeah, and-
Maratea, and Barney are all kicking your ass, man. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I just need that motivation. I'm back, baby.
Yeah, you got the
See what I just
bot
did there?
score
Yeah.
is way higher for those guys. And also, let me apologize to the text line because I know you said all sorts of nice things to me lately, and I didn't have the heart to do it, to just scroll through Vince, we're sorry about Russell Wilson messages. I didn't have it, and then the Wentz thing happened, so I feel better. But also, my computer is dead. I mentioned that last episode.
I don't think you did. That's what when I listened back, I don't think we said your PC also died at the same time. So it was like a triple whammy.
It's totally over. So yeah, my computer has been stripped to guts. Taylor's been tearing it apart. We're gonna reconfigure the whole thing. So my computer, as I know it, is dead. So I haven't been able to just log in at home and do that, which is when I normally do it. Also, I am moving still, but
yes,
I will get back to you soon. Everybody on the text line, I appreciate you reaching out. I know John's seen your messages.
Everybody from Joe to Scott to Michael, Stan, Joshua, Ryan, Timmy. Great support for Vince Quinn. So I'm telling you, you're going to brighten up your day, not even remember Russell Wilson after this offseason. Yeah, exactly. See, we're already there.
He rejected us.
But let me know if you think that's too crazy. And even if you don't like the idea, the Eagles are definitely thinking that way.
Quick aside is, all right, in this case, Desmond Ridder is our Jordan Love. Is that what you're trying to do?
Essentially. But
that's not worth a first round pick.
I mean, now that we know who
not
Jordan
worth the
Love
first round
is,
pick.
I think Desmond Ridder is a lot more talented, arm wise, field vision wise than Jordan Love is.
I'm just saying, in theory.
In theory, if he then it's a huge mistake. But also, it doesn't necessarily have to be Desmond Ridder. It could be whoever they love.
Quarterback in first round, you just want a Jordan Love kind of thing.
You have to have somebody develop alongside of Jalen Hurts, yes. And it can't be.
I don't think
third,
that's.
fourth,
I don't think
fifth,
that's
sixth, seventh round. It can't.
I don't think that's this year. Maybe a different year.
I'd rather
not
just
this
keep
year.
Minshew.
So would I.
Rather than spend a first round pick, I'd rather just keep Minshew right now and go, you know what, Jalen, we gave you all of last year. That was your year, and Minshew was dying for this job, and you know it, and we didn't give it to him. Now it's a competition.
Okay.
And good luck.
I can accept that. However, I don't think Gardner Minshew's a top 10 to 5 quarterback either.
I don't either, but in terms of him versus Hurts and who's better, you know, maybe.
Unless he was on the Giants.
Unless he was on the Giants, then he'd totally be that.
Gardner Minshew, Hall of Famer for the New York Giants.
We will certainly leave it there. Thanks again to all our friends at Liquid Death, liquiddeath.com/Bell. I'm just happy that Vince Quinn's out of the depression mode here.
That was a lot faster than I thought.
Yeah,
Thank you,
48 hours.
Yeah, I
Washington.
talked to him yesterday around 11, 12 o'clock. He was still down in the dumps. He was tears pouring out. You could see it on camera. Go listen to Greg's podcast, Philly iPod. You could see.
Oh yeah, shout out to Philly iPod and Greg and Francisco for wearing some really nice Sixers gear today. By the way,
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the jacket is nice.
got me all pumped up.
Mitchell and Ness, baby.
For Taylor Cordatis, of course, for Francisco Rojas, that is the bold and the beautiful Vince Quinn. I am John Barcher. This has been Bell and the Birdmen right here on bellandthebirdmen.com. And we'll see you on, Tuesday. Okay, bye!